Good evening from Nairobi. Many thanks for joining us on the broadcast this Friday night, the 12th day of July 2024. We are glad you could join us. The top stories tonight. Dead and dumped. Lifeless bodies stuffed and tied up in sacks recovered in Nairobi.
Sasa kitu nashangaa na serikali. Hii raundi mayuth ndiye anakufa ama ni nini?
It is not normal and they are not people from this area.
Just what is happening. Also tonight, it has come to pass.
The Inspector General of Police has resigned.
We'll give you insights on how Kenya's top cop was knocked out. Plus, the pain of a mother whose son is still missing.
Nitafutwe mtoto wangu, nipewe mtoto wangu, nipewe mtoto wangu. Hiyo ndio uchungu yenye niko nayo kama mama.
And on NTV Presents, we have first-hand narrations of victims of the abductions. And as President Ruto draws the opposition closer, Azimio is not united.
I would not share a platform with Ruto and his regime.
What are the president's options?
Live from Nation Center, this is Weekend Edition with Ben Kitili.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno. A number of lifeless bodies concealed in sacks were retrieved from the Kware dump site near Mukuru Kwanjanga slums here in Nairobi. The bodies, 6 of them confirmed to be of females, had visible injuries and had been wrapped in polythene bags and tied with ropes. The site of devastation revealed a scene of horror as more body bags were sighted. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations has launched a probe and are in the process of analyzing samples to identify the bodies. NTV's Rose Wangoi reports.
Shock engulfed the residents of Mukuru slums in Nairobi after bodies of lifeless people were retrieved at Kware at an abandoned quarry filled with water and used as a dump site. The bodies were wrapped in sacks and polythene bags and tied with ropes.
Ni tukio ingine imeshangaza wengi, hata wengi hatudhani kama tutakula nyama sababu hii ni kitendo mbaya sana. Mtu kutolewa kwa maji kama ameoza serious.
According to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations DCI Amin Mohammed, 6 of the bodies of females and the mode of death was similar, but the DCI did not reveal the specific manner of killing. In a statement, the DCI said the bodies were severely mutilated and were in various stages of decomposition.
Na kwa wasichana nimeona wametoka hapa kwa shimo ni mayouth kwa sababu wako 35 kama inarudi chini. Hao ni mayouths tu.
Police arrived at the scene as more bodies were being retrieved by the youth. The gruesome recovery operation was spearheaded by local youth who retrieved 2 more bodies also wrapped in nylon and tied with ropes. Witnesses claim some of the bodies had visible injuries, sparking speculation about the circumstances of their deaths. The incident attracted large crowds with locals milling around the area as more police officers arrived at the scene.
It's very terrible. It's very terrible. Kwa sababu kuona hizi body ni body imeletwa. Sioni kama ni body iko hapa. Kwa sababu nasema hivyo kwa nini? Kwa nini mali moja ndio hao wanapatikana mali moja? Kwa nini ingine hawezi patikana pande nyingine, ingine patikane pande nyingine?
There are fears that more bodies could be found as the search intensifies, as the site is expansive and there was no guarantee that the bodies that had been pulled out were the only ones.
Kuangalia hapo bado unaona magunia yamefungwa, mapepa bag imefungwa na kuangalia na umbali unaona ni hao ni body.
Watu walikuwa najirusha hapa sababu ya maybe domestic issues. Mtu kama amechoka na kwake, anaona maisha imefika mwisho na kuja najirusha hapa.
Kumaanisha hii simo imebeba mili mingi. Si moja ama mbili, imekuwa kaburi. Sababu kila kitu gunia imefungwa. Hizo gunia serikali wakuje tutoe. Tuhakikishe tujue kila mtu alale akiwa na peace. Juu hata mimi best yangu alipotea, niko nashindwa alienda wapi ama ako kwa hii shimo ya Shakahola hii.
The area has been cordoned off and designated as a crime scene. The DCI boss said that they are analyzing the bodies and have appealed to the public to cooperate as investigations continue. The bodies were transported to the city mortuary to await post-mortem examinations. Rozongwe, NTV.
We'll keep an eye on that story for you. Now, when there is a list or sackfuls of missing people, Kenyans who have been abducted and some killed, the ripple effect is a trail of anxiety, pain, grief, and untold torture, both emotional and psychological. Joseph Mwangi Cairo has been missing since June 18th, according to his mother, Tabitha Cairo. She says she has tried to find him in mortuaries, hospitals, and police stations to no avail, and worse, she says she has hardly found much help. Her agony is heartbreaking. She narrated her ordeal during the Citizen Assembly earlier today. Listen.
I'm looking for my son. Sijui kwenye yako. Simu imekuwa mteja from date 18. That's the last time we talked to him. Na juu ya hii mambo iko, I was calling kumwambia kuongea kuhusu maandamano. Na ndio nikapata mtoto wangu ako mteja. From that time nimekuwa nikizunguka. Nimeenda hospitali zote zenye ziko around. Alikuwa na Kamweki. Nimeenda hospitali zote. Nimeenda mortuary. Nimeenda police station. Na to make the matter worse, ile kitu inaniuma, nimereport. Na nimereport Kasarani police station. Hakuna usaidizi yoyote unapewa. As a Kenyan, nafaa kufanya nini? Kama mzazi wa Mwangi, nafaa kufanya nini mimi? Cause ile kitu nafaa kufuata, ile njia nafaa kufuata ya kwenda kureport a missing child umefanya. Unaenda unapata police amekaa na unamwambia mtoto wako amekosekana for this time na umereport na hakuna kitu anakusaidia nayo. Anakuambia kuna data inafaa kutoka kwa Safaricom. You never know. Haujai kuwa in that scene again. Hujui utaenda wapi, hujui utaanza wapi, hujui utamalizia wapi. You can imagine hizo masiku zote unalala, unaamuka, unaenda kutafuta mtoto wako. Unaenda hospitali, unaenda mpaka unaanza kuamsha wale watu wenye wako wamelala wamejifunika. Uone kama mtoto wako alipatwa na shida yote ama aliumia kwa maandamano, ako kwa hospitali. You can imagine venye tunaenda through. Familia, kila mtu ako kwa pande yake, ingine pande yake akitafuta mtoto. Na kuna government. Kuna ile kitu unafaa kufuata. Kuna wale watu wanafaa kutafuta missing person. Kuna data, kuna technology. Sasa utaenda ukitafuta, unaenda ukiangalia everybody. Uangalia kama huyo ni mtoto wako. Utafanya nini? Ukienda kwa police station anakuangalia, hakushughulikii, unatafuta njia zenye anaweza kukusaidia nazo, anakuambia hana gari ya kwenda sijui kuangalia nini, sasa ni utafute pesa umpe. What is this? Kenya, makosa yetu ni nini? Makosa yangu kama mama ni nini? Makosa ya mtoto wangu ni nini? Ni kuwa tu Mkenya. Nini alifanya mbaya? Kutokelezea kwa barabara kama alikuwa ametokelezea kwa barabara. Alifanya makosa gani? Na ni light yake. Ukiona mahali unafinyika as a Kenyan, kuna light ya kuandamana. Joseph Mwangi Cairo, mimi mzazi, kwa nini napitishiwa uchungu kama huyo nikiwa mzazi? Tukiwa familia, kwa nini tunapitishiwa uchungu kama hiyo? Kwa nini? Si tunafaa kuwa tumesaidiwa. My question is, na this one I direct to wakubwa wa Kenya hii. Kama ni mtoto wa Ruto angekuwa amepotea, all those days angekuwa saizi amepatikana. Juu kuna venye data zenye zinafaa kutumiwa apatikane. Lakini juu ni mtoto wa maskini, na lakini ni maskini Mkenya, ama Kenyan by niko na national ID ya Kenya. Mtoto wangu ako national ID ya Kenya. Cause yeye ni mtoto wa Kenya, anafaa kutafutwa kama venye wa Ruto anafaa kutafutwa. Kama wale wakubwa wengine, mtoto wangu anafaa kutafutwa in the same venye anafaa kutafutwa. Hakuna Mkenya mdogo, hakuna Mkenya mkubwa. Juu maisha ni maisha. Mimi mtoto wa Ruto hawezi kuwa mtoto wangu. Mwangi wangu hawezi kuwa wa Ruto. So I'm looking for justice for my son. Nitafutiwe mtoto wangu, nipewe mtoto wangu, nipewe mtoto wangu. Hiyo ndio uchungu yenye niko nayo kama mama.
Indeed, a mother's pain. In other news, at least 10 people died and 26 others were injured after a bus traveling from Mandera rammed into a stalled trailer at Bangal along the Garissa-Mwingi Road. Bangal's Sub-County Police Commander Ephraim Karimi has confirmed the incident. Most of the victims are currently admitted at the Garissa County Referral Hospital with multiple injuries. Survivors say the bus, which was ferrying about 50 passengers, rammed a stationary lorry that was carrying building materials and had been parked on the roadside. The hospital is appealing for blood donations from well-wishers to assist victims of the crash.
Trailer ambayo inaenda huko ilikuwa inasimama na dereva yetu alikuwa anafikiri kama gari inaenda.
Out of the 13, we have one who have already been discharged. 2 of them have succumbed to the while they have been managed at our casualty, emergency and casualty center.
It looks like the bus driver was speeding because the whole of the left side of the bus was totally ripped off, leading to the loss of 10 lives.
President William Ruto's proposal in agreement with opposition leader Raila Odinga to have a broad-based political framework to get the country out of the current political crisis has seemingly signaled an impending government of national unity. Now, this has attracted criticism and opposition from the youth and a section of leaders from the opposition coalition who want nothing to do with the coalition government. NTV's political affairs reporter Vincent Oduor tells us more.
The countrywide youth protests against what they termed as President William Ruto's government ills against them, including the heavy burden of taxation and poor governance, have forced President Ruto to listen and begin to act on the demands. He also teamed up with opposition leader Raila Odinga, and both agreed to hold a national dialogue forum to resolve the grievances of the citizenry. This is the 3rd time Odinga, by virtue of his political capital and influence, is showing up to seemingly save a sitting president. During the 2007-2008 post-election violence, Odinga joined forces with President Mwai Kibaki to form a government of national unity to calm the situation. Similarly, in 2018, when President Uhuru Kenyatta fell out with his then Deputy William Ruto and was facing a lot of political opposition, he and Odinga mended fences, as was seen through the symbolic handshake that helped him calm temperatures in the country and run the government. But now political pundits have criticized President Ruto's move to draw in Odinga to rid himself of the wrath of the Gen Z-driven move.
He cannot go back to Raila and the tired and beaten route to reinvent himself. He's missing it. Baba doesn't understand where this revolution is coming from, and that he's not part of it. He cannot understand that there can be a demonstration in this country without him.
Baba. This is that he cannot play Jesus all the time. You are dealing with a generation that is asking hard questions, and what they want are answers and nothing else.
In addition to the young protesters rejecting President Ruto's move to bring Odinga on board, the former Prime Minister's acceptance has divided the Azimio opposition wing, including NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua, who has also opposed a national dialogue forum.
It is not necessary. This is a trap to kill the clamor for accountability and reform by the Gen Z. If you remember when Azimio went out to demonstrate last year, supported by the electorate, quite a chunk of the electorate, Ruto called for dialogue. And our Azimio leader Raila met him in Mombasa, and they agreed on dialogue, an uncomfortable dialogue that after a whole year, because they finished, the NADCO report came out in December. What did it have? The #1 priority was cost of living. It was a complete fraud on the people. And we said it here on the 7th of December 2023, and we rejected it. It did not contain the cost of living.
As a core principal in Azimio, were you invited or consulted with regards to the decision of forming this National Dialogue Forum?
I would not be invited because they know my stand. I am not part of those NADCO talks. We disowned them in December. And I would not share a platform with Ruto and his regime. Last time I checked in Azimio, we did not recognize Ruto as the president because we were telling him, proof you were elected, we have new information, open the servers. Where in NADCO did we say that now we have recognized? Those are unilateral actions of individual Azimio leaders.
There are reports that a government of national unity is in the offing. Would you agree to be part of such a government if you are invited?
I wouldn't be part of it, definitely. Even the positions that NADCO will bring, I salivate for none. I would rather remain out than engage in defrauding their people of their dreams, because you come out to demonstrate, hopeful that your situation will change. Instead, my situation changes because I get a salary. That's really not what serving people is about. There must be a larger goal than the self-interest.
President Ruto's decision to dissolve cabinet has been welcomed and criticized alike, and this is also a point of division in the Azimio coalition.
We stand ready to support the country, come up with measures that can restore lasting peace and stability and address the long-standing issues like unemployment, the unending search for justice and equality, fighting corruption, negative ethnicity in our national life, instilling a tradition for meritocracy in appointment to public office, and ending the unfair and punitive economic and taxation policies.
Even though the president has dissolved his cabinet and rejected the 2024 finance bill, still the young protesters have maintained that he has not finished implementing all their demands, with some saying that he must also leave office.
Transitions require clear goals, clear communication, a clear roadmap. So the question he needs and the consultation he needs quickly is to put that in place. Right. But he needs to read the writing because he's misread it all along. His time is up.
Currently, President Ruto seems to be lonely at the top as he tries to save his administration against the wrath of the people. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Just hours after Ruto sacked his entire cabinet, Inspector General of Police Japhet Koome has resigned. This follows intensified public outcry to have him held responsible for the deaths of more than 40 people during the series of protests that have rocked the country since June. Koome's 20-month tenure at the helm of the National Police Service has been dogged with an iron fist clasp of protests, where police have killed and maimed picketers under his watch. But as NTV's Bridget Ngana reports, Koome's resignation may have been in the works due to the frosty relationship he had with his boss, President William Ruto.
3 weeks of anti-finance bill and anti-government protests that began as peaceful engagements but turned violent at the hands of police, so much so it led to deaths. Frustrations were voiced amid tears, blood, injuries and claims of police abductions. The man at the center of this, the Inspector General of the National Police Service, Japhet Koome, whose ejection from office was among the demands of the protesters.
Ruto must fire the Inspector General of Police, the Nairobi Police Commander, and apprehend all police officers implicated in the murders of the over 200 innocent Kenyans in peaceful protests since last year.
And we are demanding from the head of state that his promise that there will be no extrajudicial killings in his tenure, in his reign, that he may hold truth to that. At least if for nothing else, let people not die for standing for their beliefs. Let people not be abducted for standing for what they believe is right. And we are still demanding from him to ensure that all those who have been involved are arrested and prosecuted before our courts of law.
Then, Friday, 12th July 2024, the much-awaited announcement. President William Ruto makes public the resignation of the police boss whom he appointed to office just a year and 8 months ago.
The Inspector General of Police has resigned.
This is among the changes in the senior police ranks, with President Ruto appointing Kome's deputy Douglas Kanja in an acting capacity. NTV has learned that since October last year, all has not been well between the president and the now former Inspector General of Police, so much so that he was missing from high-level security meetings. Even during the anti-finance bill protests, it is reported that it is the Director General of the National Intelligence Service, Nordin Haji, was the one holding brief in Kome's absence. But putting up a brave face, the IG spoke in the aftermath of the deadly protests defending the police brutality.
Because of discharging my mandate to the best of my ability. Ken, that time we are losing this country, and I don't stamp authority as Inspector General of this country, would have lost the country.
In the 20 months Kome was the Inspector General of Police, the uniformed men and women in his command have been under heavy deployment during protests, such as the anti-government protests by Azimio in early 2023. And recently, during the doctor's strike, where the KMPDU Secretary General was shot at with a tear gas canister, injuring him on his head.
That will at all times do my utmost to preserve the peace and to prevent offenses against the peace.
Japheth Kome was appointed the 4th Inspector General of Police in November 2022, taking over from Hilary Mutyambai, who had resigned on grounds of ill health. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Nakuru.
You're watching NTV Weekend Edition. Time for a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we have more for you, including the very latest from the world of business.
The thrilling world of businesses in the city. Mato, you can speed dial. Looking for help with his LPO, he needs to deliver laptops fast. Enter Stanbic Bank, the game changer in LPO financing. And I get to expand his horizons. Uyopo ni Max, aki-import bills. Lakini, yuko in a tight fix, like his favorite pair of tight sweatpants. Working capital solution from Stanbic Bank in a come-through. Sasa and expand his fashion empire to the max, literally. When our dada, a mobile money super agent, gets frantic calls to hawana float, through our digital solution, MJK Dada Boss can send float to a sea of agents to keep them all afloat. Grow your biashara and unlock your horizons with our payments and collections, vehicle and asset financing, unsecured bid bonds, LPO financing, insurance, cross-border solutions, and so much more. Stanbic Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
Mwezi wa July 28 namtangaza mshindi wa Demio. Na kama utaki na umeshinda.
Mimi siku hizi sinanga furaha. Niko na huzuni na mawazo mingi. Tangu nione hiyo kitu ni kama kichwa yangu imesimama. Najua familia yangu wananisangaa lakini hawatanielewa. Hii kitu nikisinda, najua ndoto yangu itatimizika.
Mom. Mbona umelala mchana?
Hiyo gari ya moto ndio inanikula akili mtoto yangu.
Mom, na si basi dial *570#.
Kwenye *570# kuna Mazda Demio. Chagua option 4 na ujipatie tikiti ya kuingia kwenye draw. Ushindi wako tunautangaza on 28 of July. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde.
6 laps to go. Can he produce his best form of the season and take the gold?
Now the race is on.
This Olympics, we're celebrating the gold in all of us.
It is impossible to quantify the excitement at the moment.
Stay connected to GoTV to watch our athletes go for gold in the Paris 2024 Olympics. Only on Supersport. GoTV. Love it.
At Urban Pulse Real Estate, we guarantee that what you see is what you get. All of their developments are fully catered for in terms of the financing, the construction, and the finishing. So whether it's a 3, 4, 5, or 6 bedroom unit, you can get to touch and feel and experience each and every one of the elements of your amazing property. This month in July, we have an amazing offer of 1 million shillings off any of the units that you get here in Park Peak Residency. Guys, it's a deal like no other. Experience luxury living at its finest the 13th of July 2024 as we launch Park Peak Residency, and you can get the chance of a lifetime to own the apartment of your dreams.
Kitengela, mtumishi wa Mungu Apostle Dr. James Maina Ng'ang'a anakualika katika mkutano wa Injili kuanzia tarehe 13 hadi tarehe 14 Julai uwanjani kwa DO Kitengela kuanzia saa 8 mchana.
Ujambo.
Sijambo.
Namna gani? Uko mzima?
Kabisa.
He was born in Tanzania and spent over 20 years in Kenya spreading the gospel. Yes, this week on Daring Abroad, we feature Pastor Dale and Suzanne Beverley and their life of service in Kenya's marginalized areas.
We had 8 churches that we were responsible for, and that's when we fell in love with the Turkana people.
Plus, their transition from missionary work in Africa to starting afresh in Portwin, Kansas.
The motivation for me was to work myself out of a job.
This Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on NTV.
The Kenya Geothermal Congress taking place from Tuesday 16th to 21st July at Safari Park Hotel, Nairobi. Kenya Geothermal Congress 2024, incentivizing investments in geothermal energy for Kenya's accelerated industrial development.
Good evening. Let's take a look at the business news. My name is Nina Shaban. Now we start off with employees of state-owned sugar mills have faulted the government for disbursing 654 million shillings to offset their cumulative salary arrears and pending bills to farmers, terming it as a drop in the ocean. Now they also blamed the Ministry of Agriculture for sidelining 8,000 workers in the payments at the expense of farmers, despite them working for years without pay. While 354 million shillings received from the Exchequer last week was used to clear the last tranche of fans owed to farmers, the staff from the ailing companies say that they are yet to receive 5 billion shillings. From the total amount, 150 million is set to settle employees from Nzoia, while another 150 million is to be used to pay a month's salary for workers in Chemelil, Soni, Muhoroni, as well as Kalro's supply of seedlings. Electricity bills will fall by at least 1 shilling per unit this month, that is July 2024, following drops in the 2 major components used in determining prices, offering relief to consumers who faced a rise in power prices last month. The fuel energy charge, also known as FCC, to be applied this month is 3 shillings and 25 cents per kilowatt hour, a drop of 8.6% from last month's rate of 3 shillings and 59 cents per kilowatt hour, while the forex adjustment has fallen 44.1% to 98 cents per unit from 1 shilling and 76 cents per kilowatt hour in the same period. This means that domestic consumers who use more than 100 units of electricity monthly will now get 34.45 units for 1,000 shillings, a rise from the 33.17 units for a similar amount last month. Artificial intelligence continues to have a heavy influence on the mobile phone market as consumer demands are now pushing manufacturers to advance devices to meet the standards. Samsung Mobile's recent device unveiling now hots up device competition, even as the local regulator reports astronomical market appetite for smartphone adoption. Last week, the Communications Authority of Kenya announced that Kenyan mobile phone users had dumped over 600,000 feature phones in 2023 alone, signifying a rising quest for digital inclusion and hence the need for a bigger supply of devices in the market.
Leading the global electronics industry by developing cutting-edge technology, exceptional quality, and unparalleled customer experience. Our commitment to innovation ensures that each device offers more than just communication.
AI should transcend device functionality and become a functional part of our everyday life, making experiences smarter, better, and more personalized.
Well, that's it for Business News tonight. My name is Nina Shaban. After the break, Ben Kitili will be back with more.
Kwa star 570 hash tunakupa nafasi ya kuchomoka na this brand new Mazda Demio. Enjoy a beautiful, clean, semi-leather interior, low mileage, touchscreen and a reverse cam, fuel-efficient 1300cc engine, great for personal use and business. Ukitaka kujishindia gari hili, kucheza ni rahisi sana. Chukua simu yako, bonyeza star 570 hash, chagua option number 4, kisha unajiunga na draw. Kumbuka kucheza mara kadhaa because the more you play, the higher chances of wewe kuwa mshindi.
Gari ya pili ni yako. Ni yako.
Hii Julai, jishindie Demio na Loto Moto. Tucheze, tusaidie na tushinde.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
5 questions with Sarah. Hi guys. Wow, Sarah, your skin is glowing. What beauty soap do you use? I use a beauty soap that keeps my skin soft, moisturized, and protected from germs. But Sarah, the beauty soaps I know don't give germ protection. Dettol Skincare does. It combines the trusted protection of Dettol with 2 times moisturizers to protect my skin from germs and keeps my skin soft with a beautiful fragrance. Beautiful skin is germ-free skin.
Ngozi yako ina glow. Nilijipaka mafuta leo asubuhi nikikam, lakini skin yangu ishaparara and it looks so dull. Sis, see, it's the new Nice and Lovely Lemon Extract Body Lotion. Hiyo ndo secret yangu to a moisturized and bright skin. Usimix.
New Nice and Lovely Lemon Lotion, enriched with vitamin C and sunflower seed oil for 48-hour nourishing glow and brighter skin. Try Nice and Lovely Lemon Lotion today.
Welcome back to the broadcasts. Youth in the country have once again been praised for reviving hope among Kenyans and for Kenya and their agitation against poor governance and corruption at the national level through the Gen Z-driven protests. Riara University Chancellor Wilfred Kiboro, as well as other speakers at the institution's 8th graduation ceremony, spoke boldly and accused the judiciary and church leaders of dalliance with politicians, who they say have been part of the theft of billions of shillings belonging to the public. The 394 graduates were urged to pursue integrity and innovation.
Lack of integrity being brought to the fore and the rot that it has brought our country to a point where people had to lose their lives to get everybody to realize that we are heading in the wrong direction.
Your role in changing this country will be pivotal. The challenges the world is facing today, from climate change to integrity and moral dilemmas, from corruption to societal injustices, require innovative solutions and bold actions. The knowledge you have acquired from this prestigious institution makes you problem solvers.
Many of our political leaders in the national and county governments, I don't know how to describe them other than to say they are an utter disgrace to the community. And I think what the president did last night in firing his entire cabinet speaks volumes about that. And I wish we could do the same in our county government, to have a start fresh, to take this country where it belongs.
Children from less privileged backgrounds who do not get opportunities to enjoy education and develop a reading culture often face more challenges as they seek to adjust into the world outside school walls. A confidence to speak publicly and to know how to engage in issues of public interest are among the fruits of a reading culture among learners. This has been reiterated as more than 2,000 schools across the country united in a monumental effort to break the world record for the most people reading aloud from the same text at the same time. An estimated 300,000 learners read an excerpt from the Kiswahili novel Kijiji cha Ukame by Dr. Hamisi Babusa to commemorate the National Reading Aloud Day in Kenya, which seeks to achieve the promise in a reading culture.
Our children today who have read, they are saying they understand their role in climate action and they are going to join Binti Kitabu in her quest to protect the environment. So as an organization, we are hoping that this day instills births a movement and instills the drive among our children to protect and conserve the environment.
Watching NTV Weekend Edition, let's take another quick commercial break. We are back shortly with more content for you.
Mimi siku hizi sinanga furaha, niko na huzuni na mawazo mingi. Tangu nione hiyo kitu ni kama kichwa changu imesimama. Najua familia yangu wananisangaa lakini hawatanielewa. Hii kitu nikisinda, najua ndoto yangu itatimizika.
Mom. Mbona umelala mchana?
Hiyo gari la tumoto ndio inanikula kile mtoto yangu.
Mom, nasi basi dial *570#.
Kwenye *570# kuna Master Demio. Chagua option 4 na ujipatie tikiti ya kuingia kwenye draw. Ushindi wako tunautangaza on 28 of July. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde.
na Carrefour.
Enjoy Avena vegetable oil 5 liters at 995 shillings. Assorted Sunlight hand wash 3.5 kg at 799 shillings. Fresh Afer beef meat bone in at 479 shillings per kg. Grapes red pack 500 grams at 299 shillings. And Anko Kuka at 35,995 shillings.
Deals kibao kila wiki na Carrefour.
Letters for Good. In Ol Kalou, Nyandarua County, Joanne Dungu is filled with joy as she expects her 9th child. But everything would change after the birth. There's an untold story inflicting misery on thousands of women.
Be inspired by ordinary Kenyans beating the odds through extraordinary determination. Watch M-Pesa Foundation's Letters for Good this Sunday on NTV.
Acne-prone skin? Marks? Stop. Try new Garnier Charcoal Serum with 4% AHA, BHA and charcoal. The first black serum with no residue. Clinically proven to reduce pimples and acne marks. New Garnier AHA, BHA Charcoal Serum. Approved by dermatologists by Garnier Naturally.
At Urban Pulse Real Estate, we guarantee that what you see is what you get. All of their developments are fully catered for in terms of the financing, the construction and the finishing. So whether it's a 3, 4, 5 or 6 bedroom unit, you can get to touch and feel and experience each and every one of the elements of your amazing property. This month in July, we have an amazing offer of 1 million shillings off any of the units that you get here in Park Peak Residency. Guys, it's a deal like no other. Experience luxury living at its finest the 13th of July 2024 as we launch Park Peak Residency, and you can get the chance of a lifetime to own the apartment of your dreams.
People come to me and they say they get discomfort when they have ice cream. Can you imagine that? Avoiding having cold ice cream. Sensodyne gives you long-lasting protections against sensitivity. And people come in and they're like, oh, it works. I can have ice cream and I'm not in any discomfort. I recommend Sensodyne because it works. It's brilliant.
Ujambo.
Sijambo.
Namna gani? Uko mzima?
Kabisa.
He was born in Tanzania and spent over 20 years in Kenya spreading the gospel. Yes, this week on Daring Abroad, we feature Pastor Dale and Suzanne Beverley and their life of service in Kenya's marginalized areas.
We had 8 churches that we were responsible for, and that's when we fell in love with the Turkana people.
Plus, their transition from missionary work in Africa to starting afresh in Portwin, Kansas.
The motivation for me was to work myself out of a job.
This Saturday at 7:30 p.m. on NTV.
The Kenya Geothermal Congress taking place from Tuesday 16th to 21st July at Safari Park Hotel, Nairobi. Kenya Geothermal Congress 2024, incentivizing investments in geothermal energy for Kenya's accelerated industrial development.
At Urban Pulse Real Estate, we guarantee that what you see is what you get. All of their developments are fully catered for in terms of the financing, the construction and the finishing. So whether it's a 3, 4, 5 or 6 bedroom unit, you can get to touch and feel and experience each and every one of the elements of your amazing property. This month in July, we have an amazing offer of 1 million shillings off any of the units that you get here in Park Peak Residency. Guys, it's a deal like no other. Experience luxury living at its finest the 13th of July 2024 as we launch Park Peak Residency, and you can get the chance of a lifetime to own the apartment of your dreams.
Mambo vipi watu wangu? This week on Crossover, we are celebrating artists who have become innovative in the gospel industry.
And this week on Crossover, we'll be joined by Andre Awili, Ward Omolo, alongside some of the great artists as they've worked with on this project of One of Them. So join us this Sunday from 11:30 to 1 p.m. only on
NTV.
Cause you got me on the low, and I can never lose. I leave you in control, forever to not cruise.
And we are one of them.
The Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon 2024 Tattoo City warm-up run will take place this Saturday, July 13th from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Tattoo City. Join us for a family day full of fun and excitement as we run for a cause. There will also be live music courtesy of the sensational Nviri, Vijana Barubaru and Ben Soul, plus lots of delicious food and drinks, and a vibrant race village with activities for all ages. Lots of exciting prizes to be won. The Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon 2024 Tattoo City Warm-Up Run, a fun-packed family day. See you there.
Welcome back, and as I bid you good night here on NTV Weekend Edition, tonight I leave you with tonight's episode of NTV Presents. They say they were exercising their constitutional right of protesting and calling out against what they termed as injustices. As they kept their voices up, their chances of getting in trouble with the authorities also went up, and they got abducted and traumatized. On NTV Presents, we hear the first-hand narrations of the first person to be reported as having been abducted as a result of the anti-finance bill protests, Billy Simani, also known as Crazy Nairobian. We also hear the experience of Nadia Nthia, a lawyer, as an advocate trainee at the Kenya School of Law, who was also abducted. Listen.
I joined the movement majorly because I believed in the cause. We were fighting the system over economic policies that were set to disproportionate the common mwananchi. So that was my motivation. We need a society that works for all of us. We need systems that work. So, yeah.
What are some of your experience, if you can recount and tell us? What did you experience?
Wow, I experienced quite a lot. I was abducted. I was abducted about 2 or so weeks ago with my partner. And according to our captors, they had been trailing me for about a week before they took me, just waiting for the order to say, okay, now you can take her. And the day before they took me, I moved out of my house temporarily. I went to stay with my partner because I believed I was going to be safe there. But they found me even there. My phone had been off for like 2 days. I was communicating majorly with my laptop. I had my apps on my laptop. My phone was off because I had been told they were tracking me using my number. So the day before they took me, I had come from school, from the Kenya School of Law. I wasn't using my phone entirely. Even the trip that I took from the Kenya School of Law to the house, my partner had to request from his phone, and I was paying for things in cash. It was crazy. I was living in fear for about a week before they took me. I was purely, entirely in hiding, but they still found me. So anyway, so at around 6 p.m. the day before, I got to the house, and something just told me, you know what, check the window, like look outside. And I checked, and I saw a silver SUV parked outside, and 3 men got out of it. So I called my partner at that time using my laptop on WhatsApp, and I told him, okay, you know what, there is a silver SUV parked outside. There are 3 guys moving around. I'm scared that they're going to take me right now. I don't know what to do. So he tells me, no, just calm down, breathe, observe, text me everything, like tell me everything that's going on. I'm on my way. So I observed them for about half an hour. They were just moving around. It was like surveillance of some sort. So they were moving around, observing the area. I don't know what they were trying to find really, but that went on for like half an hour. Then they left. And around the same time they were leaving, he arrived. I was so scared. I was rooted to one spot of the living room the entire time until he got there. Then I was like, oh, Fuchs, now I can breathe. So that evening went by. It was very calm. It was peaceful. We slept.
What was your emotional state at that point?
My anxiety was so bad. I was having panic attacks after every couple of hours. It was insane because the day before they had taken my friend Shadrach, so I had a feeling that they were gonna come for me next, especially if they went through his phone. Yeah, so that evening went by it was calm, it was quiet, we slept. I wasn't able to sleep much during that period because, of course, nerves, anxiety. So at around 4 a.m., I hear movements outside. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's the neighbors coming, getting home from somewhere. And I brushed it off as nothing. And then they knocked. They knocked at our door, and I brushed that off as well. But the knocking got louder and louder. And at that point, I woke him up. I was like, they're here. They've come for me. And before that, I had typed out a tweet on my laptop that I was going to send out when they came. It was like, wamenichukua. But I didn't even have time to send that out. I didn't even have time to send that out. Yeah, so I woke him up. I told him, there's someone at the door. So he got up. I'm scared. I'm shaken. It is so loud. They wanted to break down the door at that point. They shouted something at him in Luo, Nyerere something. He later told me it meant, open this door or we're going to break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to the door. I stayed in the bedroom, scared as hell. I'm still in my nightwear. I was fixed to that spot. I didn't know what to do. He went to the door, he opened it. As soon as he opened it, they put him down. Blindfolded him, tied him up, came in to look for me. They were 7 with guns as big as me.
Could you tell their faces?
No, I could not. They were wearing baklavas, they were masked up, so I could not see their faces at all. But I could just hear voices. It was just the voices. So they put him down, came into the bedroom looking for me. Mm-hmm. I saw their guns and, dude, I'm very short. So when I tell you their guns are as big as me, I saw them and the first thing that came to my mind was, why are they coming to get us a little girl with military-grade weapons? I'm not a terrorist. The only thing I did wrong was use my social media and my voice for a cause that I believed in, for a cause that millions of Kenyans believe in. Yeah, so at that, I told you I was still in my nightwear, so they wanted to take me like that, but one of them had sense and said, no, let her get into something that's a bit warmer, more appropriate. Yeah, they didn't even want to let me dress up. They were just standing there, watching me, waiting for me to undress and give them some kind of show. They're sick people. No, but one of them, the one who had sense, yeah, the sense was constant. He told them, okay, maybe we can give her a minute to get changed. And then, yeah. So I dressed up. I just put a t-shirt and one of my official pants on and this exact jacket and a sweater, and I took one for him as well. I didn't know they were gonna take him. Initially I thought, okay, they're just gonna come for me and he's gonna get me out. But they took him too. So I took a jacket for him and they tied us up, they blindfolded us, and we left. So took us down the stairs.
You blindfolded from
the house.
From the house.
There were instances where they used to take off the blindfold, like if we went to the washroom, which we went to a lot. But yeah, so they took us into the car. I don't even know if we locked the house. I have no idea what happened after that. At that point in my head, I was just like, oh God. So they put us in a car. I didn't know we were in the same car because later on I was told there were 3. So in my head, I was also thinking, okay, where did they take him? What are they going to do to him? Not my partner. Where did they take him? And then later on, I came to realize, oh, he's right here. So calm down a bit. So they put us in the car and we drove for nearly 20 minutes. got to our destination. The entire time, these guys are hitting my head, like, usijaribu kutoa your blindfold, ukitoa utanikasirisha, and you don't want to make me mad. So they're hitting my head, confirming, is this thing on? It was so tight, my head hurt so bad, my ears, it was crazy. So we got there, we sat in the car for about 10 minutes, and the entire time they're like, other guys came and they were like, oh, undo Nadia, oh, you ndo ringleader, nkasichana kadogo, waka ndo kana ringlead watu kwenda maandamano. So I'm like, at that time I'm scared, I'm like, miyaki sija ringlead mtu, sija ringlead mtu, that's all I kept saying. And then they took us inside. It felt like a house. So they took us inside the house and put us in a room. Later I realized there were 2 beds. So my partner was in the other one and I was on the one on the right. Still blindfolded this entire time and tied up. So they left us there for a few minutes. And then I think we were handed over. The people who took us are not the same people who were interrogating us. The anxiety, constantly having to look over your shoulder, constantly being scared that people are out to get you. I also haven't stayed in my house for more than 2 days at a go since this thing started. Just jumping from relative to relative, friend to friend. I stayed with my partner also for some time. So it's crazy. As I was telling my story right now, I could feel like a panic attack was coming on, because as I recount those events in my head, I feel like I'm back there. I feel like I'm going through that again. So,
Billy, on your end, how is it for you?
Okay, for me, I was, I think, the first guy to be abducted. So for me, it was more of a surprise. We had just come from a successful Thursday maandamano. So on Friday, I was still asleep throughout the day. I just woke up constantly to tweet and go back to sleep. So at 3 p.m., I think it was on 21st June, I had a knock on the door. At first I thought it was the caretaker, because that's the only person that can knock at my door. So I went to open the door. Hao wengine upiga simu before akuze. So I was still in my t-shirt and my short. I went to the door, opened it, and I saw it was 4 guys in balaclava. The 5th one was a lady, because she had on a face mask. And the first question they asked me was, Billy? And out of shock, I answered, yes. Na hiyo time yote wameshikilia mlango. So they all rushed in. The first guy ran to the balcony. I think they thought that maybe I would escape. Then the second one went to the bedroom. And then the third one, it was this huge guy. He told me to face the wall. Alafu, they told me to sit down. And the next thing I know, I was being slapped with brand new wrist bracelets, yani pingu nyuma. Alafu, the other guy went for my laptop and my phone. And then they started interrogating me. First, they asked me to open my phone. They wanted me to unlock my phone, but I refused. And then the whole time I was asking, nimefanya nini? Nataka nijue nimefanya nini? And they silenced me with a few round of claps, all of them.
Oh, wow.
And so nika realize this is not usual, because first of all, I was just tweeting normally. I hadn't done anything wrong. And then the other guy went for my t-shirt, the maandamano t-shirt, it was on my chair. I thought maybe they were taking evidence, but they wanted to use the t-shirt to cover me up. So the whole time I was pleading with them to at least let me put on some pair of trousers, but they refused. And then they asked me the last time, tufungulie simu tafadhali. And I told them, mimi mniambie kwanza mnanishikia nini ndio nijue. They silenced me once again with a few round of clap, all of them. And you know I live on the 7th floor. And that's the first time ever since I moved into that building that nimewahi stairs na I think it was a few seconds because they were too quick. I couldn't see because walikuwa wameni cover up. The next thing I know, I'm being sandwiched at in the back of a car. I think there was one guy on my right, the other one on my left. And then we drove around for like 2 hours. So me, in my mind, I knew that I'm being taken out of Nairobi somewhere. And I knew this was it because first of all, they didn't introduce themselves. Second of all, I've been blindfolded. So the next thing I knew, story yangu imeisha hivyo. So we drove around for like 2 hours. Then they started whispering. And then one of them was asking for directions from someone on the phone. And then they sent him the pin. And then the next thing I know, I'm pulling up to, I don't know, one of them, they stopped the car, they came out, and then one of them was like, ni hapa? Then the others were like, yeah, ni hapa. Wakasema, sawa, toa hiyo jamaa tumalizane na hapa kwa kahawa, tuende kufanya kazi ingine. And I knew that was it. And then the next thing I know, I'm being taken out of the car. I was still in my t-shirt, my short, barefoot, hands tied behind my back. I've been blindfolded. The next thing I know, I'm being taken down the stairs into a room. It was a very cold room. Then they told me to lie on my stomach. They asked me they asked my name. I told them Bilisimani. The next thing, they wanted my ID number. The next thing, they asked me where I come from. I think walikuwa nataka kujua ushago ni wapi. I told them. Then they asked me nimeshikiwa wapi. So I was like, I thought these were the guys that brought me here. So I think those were the other guys that I was handed to who were asking questions. They let me lie on that floor for like an hour. Then after an hour, somebody came. They took me upstairs into, I think it was an interrogation room. Those guys at the interrogation room were a bit friendly. The guys at where I was being held up were a bit rough. So the next thing I know, I'm being sat on a chair. And then one of the guys started asking me questions. They asked me the usual question, what is your name, your ID number, where do you live, your social media handles. They wanted Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And then the next thing they told me was, we are going to ask you questions and you're going to answer us. If you don't, first of all, this is not a police station. So they might not find you. So you have to cooperate. And I was like, this was it. So they wanted to know who was funding these protests. And I told them, no one. It's just the youth. There are people who are coming up and buying water. Some people are coming up and buying t-shirts. Watu wanajitolea tu. Then they told me, the reason why we have brought you here is because tungeongea nawe kwako, ulikuwa kichwa ngumu. First of all, we need you to unlock that phone. And I was like, mimi nataka nijue nimeshikiwa nini. And they told me once more, I'm the one asking the questions. You're going to open this phone because we want to see something. And then I just decided to open the phone for them. I told them the code. They checked. I think they were looking to see if somebody was funding us, and they didn't find anything. So they took me down to where I was being held. I think it was a downstairs. It was a very cold room. I slept there the whole night. My hands on my back, still in my short and t-shirt, the whole night. So they came for me the next day. That's when they brought in tea. And then they transferred my hands to the front. And then after tea, I was taken back to the interrogation room. And then the guy was friendly enough to ask for a blanket. And then they told me, we wanted you to fast to meditate and think about your questions first. So I think now you are ready to cooperate with us and tell us what we want to know.
Perhaps, Billy, during the entire time, paint us that experience that you've you had that entire time, because you're talking of you being slapped at the back, you being tied up, your hands, having to sleep in a cold room the entire night. Just paint us in a minute how that experience was for you.
The whole time I was trying to think, what tweet gave me out? Like, what did I say? Because the only thing I know, I was protesting like the rest of my colleagues. So I was wondering why I was brought here. And the whole entire time I didn't know why I was brought there. Like, I knew this was the end for me. So it was like a psychological warfare, because first of all, they removed the cuffs, the handcuffs, and then they replaced them with, they're called ziplock, zip ties. And the more I was struggling, the more they were tightening. So my hands were numb. I couldn't sleep the entire time. I was trying to like listen and know where I was, but there was no sound, no nothing. I didn't know if there was anybody in the room. So I wasn't even sure if I was in a police station or what. But I later realized the following day, when they transferred the hands to the front, when I had the chance and lifted my blinds, I was in a toilet. I was actually in a toilet. It's a very small toilet. And that's where I was held the whole night. And then they would occasionally come. And when they came, they announced that they are coming, so I had to face the wall. Then they tightened the blindfolds again. They take me to the interrogation room. I think by that time, people had made enough noise on social media. I was all over, I was in the news, and they were tense at that fast, and they were telling me, your friends think that we have killed you. They are making noise all over. So we are not here to kill you. We are just trying to keep the country at peace. And they told me on Thursday, the day before they arrested me, the protest was so huge, and then goons came in at around, I think, 6, 7, and they started burning a few matatus. They started destroying properties. So in their mind, they thought that maybe we were sponsored by either a politician or someone. So they wanted to know who was this that was sponsoring the protest. And that's when I explained to them that ours is a peaceful protest. That's why we have even printed T-shirts, and we have given out a memo that anybody who is going to appear in the protests, they wakuje kama wamevaa black, so that we identify each other. And then they wanted to know how we were going to ensure that the protest was peaceful. And that's why I told them to go and look at my tweets. We had previously said that everybody should use their smartphone. If you see anybody vandalizing anything, take a picture, post it, so that when they try to pin the distraction on us, we at least have evidence. So they went through my tweets and they saw everything, everything that we are telling people. We had even posted how people were supposed to conduct themselves during the peaceful protest. And I think that was what helped me to be alive right now.
As Billy said, we need a lot of psychosocial support. The anxiety, constantly having to look over your shoulder, constantly being scared that people are out to get you. I also haven't stayed in my house for more than 2 days at a go since this thing started. Just jumping from relative to relative, friend to friend. I stayed with my partner also for some time. So it's crazy. As I was telling my story right now, I could feel like a panic attack was coming on, because as I recount those events in my head, I feel like I'm back there. I feel like I'm going through that again. So,
Billy, on your end, how is it for you?
It's not simple, because you walk around, everybody knows you. From the news that you are missing, everybody wants to hear your side of the story. But at the same time, you are scared because, first of all, I didn't see those guys. I didn't see any of their faces. So in a way, I can't trust anyone. I'm a bit skeptic, and now my life isn't normal because my phone has to be constantly on flight mode, because I'm getting a lot of calls, relatives, they want to know how I am. So I always reach out to my mom so that she can at least tell them that I'm okay. But at the moment, I'm moving around constantly from house to house because I don't want to be found in my house again alone.
This is NTV.
Kikohozi cha muda wowote.
My baby, give me vim. Anything I do, she give me vim.
You promised a dream, you promised to find a way. Where is it now? I gave you everything, trying to lie. I guess you got everything. I was happy in my mama's house. I thought I wasn't, and I wonder how. I didn't wanna come out. Said you got a way out. Said you're gonna figure it out. I'm alone now. Somebody take me back to
Sisi wote ni Team Kenya.